Here we are, day 5 of our 5-day challenge, how to get kids to listen without yelling.
Our day 5 challenge is to build up the emotional bank account by focusing on the relationship.
That's the objective for today. And the mantra is going to sound really familiar. Hopefully, if you've been watching this challenge, if you're new to the channel, this might sound new. My job is to love them no matter what and even if. That's the mantra. Write it down, repeat it several times today. My job is to love them no matter what and even if. With that mantra rolling around in your mind, today's challenge is to intentionally practice active listening with at least 2 people today, one of whom is your child.
And active listening, let's talk a little bit about that, because that is not something that most of us are very good at. We haven't had a lot of practice at doing that. So let's talk about active listening.
Well, you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, but usually we don't use them in that proportion. And have that be a reminder for you. Your job with active listening is to understand as accurately as possible what's being shared with you. So active listening will also include a reflective element. Okay. Now, reflective listening is kind of like holding up a mirror. Here's what I just heard from you. And the active part means that you're not just being quiet while you're waiting for your turn to talk.
I think that's what a lot of people think listening is, you know?
The letters in the word silent are exactly the same as in the word listen. And sometimes we think, well, just being silent then is listening. No, it's not. If your mind is trying to come up with rebuttals or with answers to or with refuting, then you're not actively listening. Your goal is simply to understand.
Listen for understanding.
Right, so zip it, all right? Be silent, but in your mind you have to clear some of the extra noise that sometimes gets in the way.
It's important when you say to reflect back. You're going to say, this is what I understand you to be saying. I have found with kids that they kind of take it and just keep going. They don't really, maybe they aren't that great at listening either. And so they just kind of keep going. And so you might have to pull them back. Let me make sure I understand. This is what you're saying.
Right. And then seek confirmation. Don't stop
Till you get confirmation.
Until whoever you're listening to is satisfied that you get it. And they'll give you some indicators like, yeah. You know, your kid, for example, as your teenager is trying to express something that they're frustrated about, you got to turn off the parent brain long enough to just get it, just to understand where they're coming from, and then feed it back to them. Okay, buddy, so you're saying that you're just so frustrated with your teacher at school right now because it's not fair the way that she's been treating you on these assignments. Is that what you're saying? And then wait for him to confirm, yeah, thanks for listening. Okay? That's when you know that you can move forward with other parts of the communication. But the challenge today is simply to do that twice. Once with your child, now the other time could be with one of your kids too. Or it could be with a spouse, or it could be with a friend, or with anybody else in your world.
Today's challenge actually is a 2-part challenge.
Yes.
So the first part is the active listening. The second part is do something fun with your child.
Just for fun.
Just for fun. Remember, we talked about in order to really be seen as a parent with any type of authority, you have to be seen as a provider of good things and good times, as well as someone who can set and enforce limits.
Right.
We're going to talk today about that just for fun.
Now, sometimes we'll pick a fun activity in order to occupy the kids so that you can do something else. That's not what we're talking about. You connect with them, engage with them, play with them.
It can be so simple, especially if we've gotten pretty used to putting them on autopilot while we try to do something, just getting involved, getting on the floor, or playing a game with them, playing a video game, even if you're not very good at it.
Yes.
Do something fun with them.
You know what? We talk about how this is important for kids. This is important for parents too. If we're not having fun, we're doing something wrong. The fun and the active listening is all for today's objective to build up that emotional bank account And I think it's probably important to at least quickly review that you're going to do this a little differently with each of your kids, depending on what stage of moral development they're representing to you. Now, if you're not familiar already with the stages, this is something we talk about extensively in the Parenting Power Up program, in the positive parenting groups that we're running, in the coaching that we're providing. This is really the core of the curriculum for you as a positive parent. If you haven't connected to that yet, please consider connecting with one of those resources that I just shared with you. Here's a quick overview of how to build the emotional bank account at each of the 3 stages. Remember, at stage 1, you don't get any cooperation. You've got a lot of defiance, you've got acting out, you've got yelling and screaming, and you don't get to choose what stage your kids are at. So to build the emotional bank account when your child is on stage 1, you, as a parent, need to disengage emotionally from the misbehavior. And you have to get really good at applying consequences with a calm voice and face and body. This is going to help you strategically in the discipline aspects. But what we're talking about here is building the emotional bank account. What we're doing is separating all of the emotional energy from the misbehavior so that they can see you as someone who is able to set and enforce appropriate limits. And like we talked about in the second part of the challenge, you're seen as a provider of good times and good things. If you need help with that, there's help available, but you got to get good at the consequences while remaining calm.
Building the emotional bank account at stage 2 is really more of expressing appreciation for the cooperation that you're getting.
And for their willingness to work with you to come up with a win-win solution.
Yeah, that win-win solution is so important to learn how to do. We're going to be doing that the rest of our lives, so you show them your appreciation that they're willing to try.
And that's really a great way to reinforce their gaining of emotional maturity as you build that emotional bank account at stage 2. Stage 3 is fun.
Yeah.
Because at stage 3, there's a lot of self-control and self-discipline. You as a parent get to back off a little bit. In fact, that's the best way to build the emotional bank account at stage 3 is to back off. Get out of their way. Stop micromanaging everything. If they've got that level of maturity, empower them to run with it. So there you have it. That's 5 days of the challenge to get kids to listen without yelling. I hope you found this helpful. Please share it with another parent or 2 or 3 that you think could benefit from this as well. And remember, we've got corresponding posts over on Instagram where you can share your experience, we can interact with each other and see how it's going.
Her head was down, face locked onto the phone.